It was competitive. I mean, there were other states that were involved, and they were very aggressive.
What it takes to get Faraday Future. We lay out the deal the legislature will be asked to approve this week.
A child shouldn't be sentenced to a public school simply because of where they live.
You tell me that some kid on the east side is going to be able, or the parents are going to be able to afford that.
Our Faceoff panel weighs in on the special session and if the controversial school choice bill should be included.
Fundraising off guns, how congressional candidate John O'Seguera got himself some national media attention over quitting the NRA.
From 8 News Now, this is Politics Now with Steve Sebelius and Patrick Walker.
Priming for Faraday. We're days away from a special session to create tax incentives to induce an electric car manufacturer to build a 3 million square foot plant in Apex in North Las Vegas.
And now it's up to lawmakers to pass the deal. Here's what the governor is hoping to get passed.
We have reached an agreement with Faraday Future.
Governor Brian Sandoval, flanked by Southern Nevada officials, announced how the state was able to lure Faraday Future to North Las Vegas's Apex Industrial Park.
Is this good for Nevada? In my heart. And the answer was a resounding yes, yes, yes.
The deal includes $215 million in tax abatements offered over 20 years, with an estimated $760 million return on investment. The governor's top economic development official says there will be little impact on the state's general fund, and taxpayers won't be on the hook if the company fails.
They either have to perform first before they get those incentives, or there's a clawback provision for the standard incentives.
At least 50% of Faraday's 4,500 employees must be Nevada residents, and the company agreed to give $1 million a year for 6 years to Nevada's school system. The state will make more than $100 million in infrastructure improvements in return, including a rail line, water line, and road improvements. It's a large investment, but Sandoval says other states were willing to go even further.
And it was competitive. I mean, there were other states that were involved, and they were very aggressive, and frankly, they offered a lot more than we did.
What made you choose this package and what Nevada had to offer?
It's the overall deal. It's this proximity to the city. It's the proximity to the West Coast.
Well, we've been told by lawmakers off the record to expect the special session to start immediately after the interim finance committee meeting in Carson City on Wednesday. However, the governor has not officially announced it yet, only telling me on Thursday that he wants it done before Christmas.
Yeah, and part of the reason for that delay may be the fundraising blackout for lawmakers during a special session. They're not allowed to fundraise for 15 days before, during, or 15 days after a special session. So the governor's giving him a couple extra days to collect those campaign dollars before that kicks in.
Well, the governor told me Faraday is all he wants to see on that special session. So, Steve, do you expect to see anything else kind of sneak its way on there?
I don't think so. Only because, every additional item that you put on there is something else that could complicate the process. And why would you want to complicate the process? The governor sets the agenda. They have to do everything he tells them, but only what he tells them. And so if you were the governor, what motive would you have to do that? Right,
and a few lawmakers like Las Vegas Republican Assemblywoman Shelley Shelton have come out and called it corporate welfare. In fact, strong words that she put on an online editorial.
Yeah, and she's not the only one. Chuck Muth, who was in our Faceoff segment coming up, said something very similar to that. There's a lot of conservatives who think this is corporate welfare. We shouldn't give anybody anything. We should just create a good tax environment and have everybody come. And plus, they also had, what about other businesses that are already here that have worked through the recession and haven't gotten any tax breaks?
Now, and when you look at the Tesla deal, this is about 20% the size of that. That was about $1.3 billion. We're talking the public investment about $335 million or so. But also you're looking at Hyperloop. So in the session, does Hyperloop have to have incentives passed as well?
The Hyperloop so far hasn't had any incentives. And remember, that's just a kind of a test bed of the project that they're thinking of building in California. So they're just going to build a smaller version here to see if it works, see if humans can go through those pneumatic tubes the way that your bank deposit does, and make sure it's safe before they take off and do it in California.
And quickly, I would expect they might be for the larger test track. I would think Nevada would be courting them to just stay here as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely, and to build that technology and create a demonstration so people come here, see how it works, and all of the other manufacturing, all the other parts that go into both the electric car and the Hyperloop. hopefully they'll be built here as well and create a whole manufacturing chain.
That's the goal. At least that's what lawmakers and economists want to see happening here. Well, ex-Nevada Assembly Speaker and current congressional candidate John Oseguera has been getting a lot of national publicity this week. The Democrat announcing he'll be giving up that lifetime NRA membership he has.
Yeah, absolutely. Almost all the national press picked up the story with features on MSNBC, the Huffington Post, The Hill, New York Daily News, and a host of others, all doing glowing stories. Oseguera says it was the San Bernardino shooting that became his, quote, tipping point, unquote. Oseguera is not a stranger to gun violence. His father shot and killed a former girlfriend before taking his own life, and he says a close friend also committed suicide. But Oseguera was also considered one of the legislature's most pro-gun lawmakers. He earned an A rating from the group for his votes. His resignation brought an exasperated reaction from one of the rival campaigns who wondered why it took so long for Oseguera to quit the organization.
Yeah, it's interesting, you know, you talk about Republican lawmakers and the ties there, but an A rating for Oseguera, and it's no surprise to hear also that call for what took so long.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, an A rating earned over a number of years, you know, serving in public office. Now, the political reality of running in a Democratic primary with an NRA membership in an election where the NRA is likely to be one of the bad guys may have forced Oseguera's hand. He didn't help his cause with the more cynical people in the state when he sent out a fundraising letter claiming he was getting flack for his decision and asking for donations to help him defeat, you guessed it, the NRA.
Well, in that same race, Senator Harry Reid's chosen Democratic candidate has picked up a major endorsement. The SEIU is endorsing State Senator Reuben Kuhn. SEIU Local 1107 has about 17,000 workers. The Democrat that wins the primary is likely to face incumbent Republican Crescent Hardy.
Up next, our Face-Off panel weighs in on the special session.
You can't give away the entire state.
They should get nothing.
At all.
Nothing.
What deal do they think Faraday should get? And things get heated as well over the school choice program. That's next.
Everyone wins at the Henderson Hyundai Holiday Gift Giveaway all this week. Purchase or lease a new Hyundai to spend for holiday gifts like an iPad mini, an Apple Watch, a Samsung Gear Watch. Get your first car payment or first year's DMV fees paid by us and more. It's the Holiday Gift Giveaway at Henderson Hyundai Superstore, home of the done deal, where we beat any offer or pay you $1,000 cash on the spot. In Henderson, of course.
Now's the time to have some fun and win your share of $2 million in prizes.
Swipe every day, and you're guaranteed to win along the way. Cash, free slot play, and more. Finish the journey and share in a $50,000 free play bonus. Then plunge into our cash drawings and win up to $10 grand guaranteed. And don't miss our Penguin prize game starting the 25th. The $2 million plunge for prizes at all station casinos and fiestas.
As a Ford employee, I get to give my friends a special deal on cars, trucks, and SUVs.
It's friends and neighbors pricing, and for a limited time, we're letting everyone in on this deal.
That doesn't happen every day.
And you can see the low price at Ford.com.
There it is.
And that's the low price you'll pay.
It's that easy.
You don't have to negotiate. It's hassle-free.
It's an inside deal.
Now for everyone.
Now you can get an F-150 using Ford Friends and Neighbors pricing, offering a value of $9,638. It's an inside deal. Now for everyone.
At Dollar Loan Center, getting a signature loan is easier than ever. You can complete the entire process online from the comfort of your own home. Go to don'tbebroke.com and fill out the online application in just 4 easy steps. You can also monitor your account, make payments, and check your balance from desktop computers or mobile devices. You never have to walk into a store. Visit us online today. Dollar Loan Center. Lending simplified.
You're watching Politics Now.
It's time for Face Off, where we hear from the right and the left on the big political issues of the day. Today, our panel was Adriana Martinez, Executive Director of Better Education Today, and former Democratic strategist and campaign manager and blogger Chuck Muth, Republican consultant. We asked what Faraday should get in tax incentives and whether the ESA should be included in the special session. Let's start with this question. What should Faraday Future get in the way of tax incentives for locating its assembly plant in North Las Vegas, if anything? Adriana, we'll go first to you.
Well, I looked at the Tesla incentive that they gave, and I honestly thought it was a little bit high because you can't give away so much. I mean, yes, we're in the running with other states, but you can't give away the entire state. So I'm a little apprehensive with this. I think it's a shot in the arm for North Las Vegas. We definitely need that. I think there has to be tough negotiations to get them in and to not give away everything. So, for example, Tesla gave money as an incentive back to education, which was a start, but I don't think it's definitely enough.
Okay, Chuck, what do you think?
They should get nothing.
At all?
Nothing beyond what every other business who has already been in our community for many, many years, a lot of businesses who weathered the recession, the Great Recession, and are still struggling to get out of it, that have never made it back from that. Why should we give an out-of-state company that has no roots here and no history here benefits that our existing companies and business owners don't get?
Well, it's a billion-dollar plant. This is a billion-dollar plant with potential 100,000 jobs. So, you know, kind of like the tax incentive where we want filmmakers to use the state of Nevada and create jobs. This is a job creator as well. And this is a shot in the arm with North Las Vegas that was almost in receivership. So, you know, we have a fine line to play with, and so we really have to be careful with not giving away too much. But we do have to play with the boys here.
What about that? I mean, we're getting something in return. I mean, we are giving something up, but we're getting jobs, we're getting money in return. Isn't she right about that?
No. Well, yes, I mean, there will be jobs coming in, but why don't we incentivize the existing businesses here if we're going to do something? This is the government picking winners and losers. Faraday should come to Nevada. I would love to have Faraday come to Nevada, but they should come here because all businesses are getting a good deal here. All businesses are getting a good tax climate. I think probably one of the better things that we have going for us now for Nevada is the fact that we've got these education savings accounts. So the jobs that are coming here that would create here, people that would move here to work for Faraday would be able to send their kids to schools other than the lousy, rotten public schools that we've had in the past.
Which is
the money that Tesla was going to put in.
Great segue. Thank you, Chuck. That leads us to our next question. And Adriana, I'll let you go first again. Should repealing the 100-day limit on the ESA program be part of the special session agenda?
No, I don't think that this should be part of the special session. At this point, you just leave the one subject and leave that alone. There are 2 lawsuits that are taking place with the education savings account, which I personally don't believe in, because I think public funds are for public education, period. And there is no way going around that, because so hear me out. There are people who say, well, you know, right now the nasty word for many are Muslims. So if there's a Muslim school, is that okay? See, you have to play fair to everybody. So it's Catholics, Jewish. So these are all private schools that are religious as well. And we should never play on religion when it comes to state funds.
Okay.
So the 100-day limit, should that be on there?
Of course it should be. That was a huge mistake that the legislature made, putting that in. That's discriminatory against parents who are sacrificing. There are a lot of parents and a lot of families in our community where both spouses have to work just to pay the tuition to send their child to a public school. To a private school. This is not about the public schools. This is about public education. We provide, for instance, vouchers for food stamps for people to buy groceries. We don't have government grocery stores. We allow people who deserve and need to have support to get that type of support to use for a private alternative. The same as with schools. Education should be no different. It is very discriminatory to discriminate against parents and homeschoolers who, especially low-income and modest-income families who can't afford the tuition themselves. This gives them the financial ability to exercise the same school choice that wealthy families have in our community.
But aren't you then, and Adriana, you can weigh on this too, if you take that 100-day limit off, the reason that was put in was to keep the cost of the program within reason. If you take that off, you're going to blow up the cost of the program. And I know you're not going to support taxes to cover that, right?
No, but exactly. I mean, the governor and the legislature just raised taxes by $1.4 billion, and yet they couldn't find a couple $1 million so that the parents of low-income and modest-income children can exercise school choice in the state. It's insane. Look, and it was done purely for budgetary reasons.
Here's an example. $13,000 is the cost of tuition for Gorman School. Okay, Gorman High School.
There are other private schools other than Gorman. Let's not keep using Gorman as an example.
Okay, then Faith Lutheran.
13,000, that's a legit.
Okay.
So that's a popular one.
That's not including books or your uniforms. Okay, so I'm just giving that as an example.
You're using
so
an extreme example. That's not fair.
That leaves you with $8,000 to cover. You tell me that some kid on the east side is going to be able, or the parents are going to be able to afford that tuition.
Oh, that's such a false argument. Adriana, come on. It's a lot easier to afford $8,000 than $13,000 to start with. Secondly,
Sure
you're using Gorman as an extreme example. There are private religious schools, like you're talking about Catholic schools.
Meadows?
There you go. You go with another extreme example.
Gosh.
There are elementary
Faith
schools
Lutheran?
that you can get into, elementary and high schools that you can get into for $3,000 to $5,000 now. Those ESAs would completely fund all of those students. And let's say it's $6,000. Okay, now a parent and a family have to come up with $1,000 instead of $6,000. That is an insane, and it's an insane argument to be making by using Gorman and the Meadows School as an example.
I still think it's a choice that the parents are making. If you want to send them to private school, then that's a choice you're making. You're going to have to come up with the money. Public education is for public funds is for public education.
Public education is not for public schools. Public education is for public education. You're conflating the two. It should be the parents' decision on where they send their child to get an education, not the government's. A child shouldn't be sentenced to a public school simply because of where they live.
And still to come, help on the way for Hillary.
He's not going to get a clean bill, and so it's that to me is a hypothetical question that has zero chance of coming to fruition.
The Secretary of Labor came to town to stump for Hillary Clinton. I asked how he plans to help get a culinary union angry over the Cadillac tax in her corner.
Spend this New Year's with a couple 100,000 of your closest friends. It's Countdown to 2016 with performances from Zoe Bowie, Ashley Red, the cast of Absinthe, illusionist Matt Franco, Jabberwockies, and many more. It's all capped off by a midnight fireworks display so big it takes up all 5 miles of the Strip. Countdown to 2016. Coverage begins New Year's Eve at 10, only on 8 News Now.
Dad, the holiday season is here.
It sure is. And we want to wish all our friends and neighbors a Merry Christmas and a very Happy New Year.
Dad, even the Hyundai dealers?
Yes, Stacy, even the Hyundai dealers.
Jim Marski is having a huge holiday on us cellathon. Get a new Kia for only $99 per month. Get 0 down and no payments for 90 days. Due to our tremendous sales volume, Jim Marski has more inventory, more models, more colors. So come find out why Jim Marski is the #1 Kia dealer in Nevada. And remember, if you don't drive here, you can't save here.
At Dollar Loan Center, we know that money doesn't grow on trees, and we don't need a kangaroo or a scientist to tell you how great we are. We have trained loan specialists that do that for us. Give us a call today and see how much you can save with us because we charge less than everyone else. We guarantee it. For more information about our signature loans or auto title loans, visit us online at don'tbebroke.com. Dollar Loan Center. Lending simplified.
Monday morning, get ready to get shipping.
The big deadline's coming up, so all of your presents can arrive on time.
Plus, a busy stretch of road is about to become a big cone zone, the massive project that will impact 3 schools and a lot of business.
And take a deep breath and relax. The impact doctors say stress can have on your chances of developing Alzheimer's.
Plus, toys are going high-tech, helping you enter an entirely new world.
The virtual reality devices that you may want on your Christmas list, those stories and a whole lot more.
Monday morning.
Well, this is The Race Now, where we recap the big stories this week. A Texas voting rights case before the Supreme Court this week could have a big impact on other states. The state wants to draw its election boundaries by eligible voters, not census numbers. Since many of the people not eligible to vote, including legal and unauthorized immigrants, prisoners, and children, are concentrated in urban areas, that could shift more political power to rural areas. And a hearing was held on the school choice reform lawsuit. A judge has not yet ruled on the state's motion to dismiss the ACLU lawsuit over the funding of religious private schools. So, Steve, what impact could that voting rights ruling by the Supreme Court have?
Yeah, that's an amazing case, and the proposition that's being advanced there is nothing less than a radical reinterpretation, I think, of centuries of apportionment by population. And it could have a devastating effect at a time that we should be encouraging as many people as possible to get registered, to become eligible by whatever means they can, and become citizens, get registered, and turn out and vote on Election Day. This is the absolute wrong direction, I think.
Yeah, this has really been in a lot of states as well. Arizona, one of our nearby neighbors, that has had lawsuits over this as well.
Right, absolutely. And so I think it'll go on. This is going to be a very important decision, though, when it comes out. Labor Secretary Tom Perez was in town stumping for Hillary Clinton. I asked him why he's in Hillary's corner and how he plans to get the culinary union to throw their weight behind the Democratic frontrunner. Take a look. So you recently came out and endorsed Hillary Clinton, the latest member of the cabinet to do so. Why Clinton?
She's a fighter. She's a progressive who gets things done, a pragmatic progressive. I worked for Senator Kennedy, and one of the things he taught me was that idealism and pragmatism are not mutually exclusive. I'm working for another guy who follows that as well, and I think people who have a strong North Star, and her North Star is pointed in the direction of working people. She thinks every day about the kitchen table issues that confront folks, and she has the capacity to deliver. And so, we've made so much progress. We were in a deep ditch when the Obama administration started. We've climbed out, and we're on that road to opportunity again. But there's still a lot of unfinished business, and I think she's ideally suited to continue the unfinished business.
If Senator Sanders were to get elected, do you think it's even possible for him to do the kind of things he's saying? A $15 minimum wage as a federal floor, to $1 trillion in infrastructure spending?
Well, we're at $7.25 an hour right now. And the debate on the Republican side is whether to repeal the minimum wage. I mean, you heard Donald Trump saying it's too high.
Yeah.
I mean, they're living, they're not having conversations with everyday Americans about what keeps them up at night.
Yeah.
And
speaking of that brings us to the concept of the minimum wage itself. Republicans say it kills jobs. What do you say to that?
I'm trying to think of the most polite word I can say so that you can print it. The evidence has shown how inaccurate that is time after time. There have been no less than 200 to 300 studies over time.
You're meeting tonight with the Culinary Union, Local 226. I sat with their political director last week. They have not yet endorsed a candidate. And one of the reasons she told me that they're holding off on endorsing a candidate is they want to hear more and see more action on the issue of the so-called Cadillac tax. There's been bills to repeal it that have been attached to kind of doomed legislation. First of all, do you think that Cadillac tax in the Affordable Care Act ought to be repealed? And would the president sign a clean bill if it came to his desk to repeal it?
Well, the president hasn't received a clean bill. And here's why. Because the only thing Republicans want to do is repeal the Affordable Care Act entirely.
If he got a clean bill that would accomplish...
He's not going to get a clean bill. And
you don't think that's at all possible in the current
environment? He's not going to get a clean bill. And so that to me is a hypothetical question that has zero chance of coming to fruition.
Now, this is the third cabinet secretary to get in the Hillary Clinton camp.
Well, how much impact, Steve, would that really have?
Not a whole lot of impact, except when you consider that she's the only person getting cabinet-level endorsements. So it's as if the Barack Obama's kind of handing the baton to Hillary Clinton as opposed to, say, Bernie Sanders.
Well, we'll see how that plays out. Throwing around big money.
And following the money, I'll reveal which Nevadans have kicked in the most dollars so far this election cycle.
Family is the reason why I decided to go back to school. I want my children to look at me and to say I am someone who will motivate them. AMU was very flexible. I was still able to be a mom, I was still able to be a wife, and now I can incorporate another title. I was able to be a student. I am the first in my family to pursue a degree beyond high school. So I do consider myself a role model, and I definitely know that I am a leader.
American Military University. Learn from the leader.
This holiday season, give the gift that's hard to wrap, but easy to give. Give a Stihl.
legendary chainsaws, hardworking steel blowers, and the full line of quality Steel outdoor power equipment. Steel, built in America, sold locally, and the gift that's #1 on everybody's wish list. Visit SteelDealers.com.
At Dollar Loan Center, the word no is a good thing. No collateral required. No prepayment penalties. No application fees. And best of all, no checking account required. When banks say no, we say yes. Getting a signature loan up to $2,500 or an auto title loan up to $10,000 from us is a no-brainer. Dollar Loan Center. Lending simplified.
Amore, Taste of Chicago. Catch live Chicago sporting events on one of our surrounding big screen TVs. You'll love Amore's famous deep dish pizza. Enjoy pasta, ribs, sandwiches, desserts, and daily lunch specials. Open daily 11 a.m. till 10 p.m. That's Amore.
Now it's time for Following the Money. We peel back the curtain on who's spending the most and where it's going. The Federal Elections Commission released new data on Thursday, and here are the top Nevada donors so far in the 2016 election cycle. Raging Wire is a data center in Reno owned by billionaire George Macricostas. It tops the list at $1.1 million, and that money went to support Rand Paul. Wine Cup Gamble is a Nevada ranch owned by former Reebok CEO Paul Fireman. He's trying to build a casino in Jersey City, and that money went to support Chris Christie. No surprise that the Las Vegas leader, Las Vegas Sands, has given a shade under $1 million so far, followed by Sands owner Sheldon Adelson's drug rehabilitation clinic at $466,000. Wynn Resorts is fifth with $283,000 donated so far. And pretty much every casino company in Nevada is in the top 20 or so for the state so far this election cycle. Patrick?
Well, thank you, Steve. This is What to Watch, where we take a look at the political stories that will be making headlines next week. Republican presidential candidates are once again hitting the stage, this time right here in Las Vegas.